Here, in the Jewish quarter of Old City Jerusalem, inside Shor Shim Biblical Shop, the understanding of my identity began to change. I was not raised as Jewish, yet coming to Israel my first time, I found such a strong connection to this nation.
I want to recount the time I first came into your shop back in 2007. I was with a tour group. You put some pieces of a puzzle together for me. I felt like I wanted to cry. I felt so homesick at the thought of having to leave Jerusalem the next day, and I didn't know why.
We believe, as Orthodox Jews, we believe this is our Father's house, the heart of the Jewish people. Once that heart is revealed, people suddenly find that they're connected. They feel a connection. They know that heart because it really is the heart of the Father. How could fulfilling the will of your beloved be a burden? That's called an opportunity.
When I moved from Western to Eastern Canada, it was out of a sense of calling to return to my roots, to Toronto, where I was born, my parents met, and my maternal grandparents immigrated from the UK. Unexpectedly, I landed in the very epicenter of the Jewish community. There my learning journey began.
Well, I remember the Pesach meals and bringing some of your friends over who are so interested in our Pesach and Judaism, and I was quite taken with their interest in our holidays.
It was very relaxing to be around both of you, and
oh, that's good.
And to you know, just
I
be able
didn't realize that we had an impact on you.
You sure did. It was really
I was really impressed with your enthusiasm and your interest, and I was really taken with the fact that you took your time off work and you started to observe Shabbat.
Torah learning, which began in Toronto with my neighbors, continued with my Shabbat hosts here in Jerusalem. I've experienced real chesed in action. I really had no idea until I got back from Israel, my first trip, and was reading an article in the Jerusalem Post about a family who'd made Aliyah, and they had the same surname as my maternal grandmother. So then I began to talk and ask my grandmother some questions. And but mostly it was just of her own accord, spontaneously sitting beside her, holding her hand. She'd mentioned different things, and she grew up in the East End of London, England, which it turned out was a large Jewish community back in its day. And actually, ironically, my grandmother, when she was between the ages of 14 and 16 in there, she worked in a Shabbat candle making factory. And she mentioned that her and her sister were picked on by fellow school kids who singled them out and made anti-Semitic remarks against them, even though they themselves did not grow up knowingly Jewish. I began to question then. I thought, wait a minute, my grandmother's from England and I had no idea it was a Jewish name. I began to do a Google search and found out many people with that surname were also exploring their Jewish roots. Well, the thing that made me wonder the most was when she mentioned that her mother, so my mother's mother's mother, commonly referred to her neighbors as Goyim, or as Gentiles. And I thought, well, where did that come from? You know, it's not a typical thing to refer to yourself as other unless you're aware that you are part of a certain group. Subsequently, I returned to volunteer on army bases, sorting and packing medical and other supplies for the soldiers. The sense of mishpacha, of family, that I experienced there, I've also discovered in my Hebrew Ulpan.
אתם מבינים? לא. אבל אחרי שהוא תמיד, בעתיד. בסדר?
שלום, בוקר טוב כולם. שמי קרי, והיום אני רוצה לדבר איתם על מסעי שלי בירושלים. הרגשתי בבית, מיד בבית. עשיתי קשר עם הארץ ישראל. I've been so inspired by the example of the Jewish community. I find there's a pervasive awareness of God in this country. There's a vitality here that I see on a larger scale that I don't see other places I've traveled, not even in Canada. It's energizing. What amazes me most is the posture of thankfulness. Blessings are spoken upon waking over every type of food, whether grown on trees or from plants above or under the ground. During the remainder of my time here, I hope to find more pieces of the puzzle to see where else this journey takes me. But even if I'm not Jewish by birth or bloodline, I have such a strong sense of connection with this nation that I consider myself at least as a Ruth to Naomi. Your God is my God, and your people, my people.